Hello, everybody. I'm Harvey Silverman, and welcome back to the NGCOA Tech Talk. This is our May edition, and today's really very special. We're going to be talking about golf balls, but not in the way you think. This is we have a very special guest. This is Matt Pringle, who's the managing director of the USGA Green Section. Matt has a PhD from McMaster University in Canada, and he's been involved in 7 different inventions or co-inventor of USGA patents, which is impressive, including the pendulum test for spring effect of drivers and the groove scan, portable scan groove measurement system. I'm sure all the pros love seeing Matt's face on the driving range as they're warming up, but along with that is the USGA firmness measurement device that he created. But today we're talking about the new and recently released GS3 golf ball. And for that, we'll have Matt on to describe what this technology is all about and how it's working and what it can do for golf course operators and superintendents. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Harvey. It's great to be here, as always.
It's good to see you and meet you for the first time. So
Yeah.
This is exciting, just because I'm always curious. Out here in California, we play on a lot of POA, and I've seen golf courses do various things to make POA playable. I'm always impressed with how superintendents are able to handle the variety of conditions and grass types that we have out here. And so when I heard about the GS3 and what it can do to help superintendents better quantify, I guess, what their greens, how their greens are playing, this fascinated me, and we're glad that you agreed to come on and talk to us. So tell us first a little bit about the development of the GS3. What was the impetus behind the USGA creating this?
Yeah, I mean, Harvey, you kind of nailed it in terms of wanting to give superintendents a way to quantify how their greens are performing. And like, the way I always think of it is, as golfers, we're always talking to our ball, right? I mean, get down, cut, stop.
Right.
But this is a golf ball. The GS3 is really a golf ball that's got enough instrumentation inside of it for it to talk to us and tell it what its experience is, especially around the putting surface. So we call it GS3, and the 3 really implies 3 different pieces of measurement that you can get. So if you roll the ball down a stimp meter, it will tell you how smooth the putting surface is. So all those little bumps and wiggles that happen, when you're watching your ball, we instead of just relying on our eye, we can quantify that and give a couple of metrics against it. It also happens to give you the green speed while you're at it. So if you're already taking some stimp readings out there, this means no more work for you. You just take a reading. In fact, you can actually take a few less, and you don't have to pull a tape measure. So it's actually a little bit quicker, and you're getting that smoothness metric at the same time. And if you when you put it in what we call our drop fixture, and drop this hammer onto the turf, it gives you a firmness reading. So we invented TrueFirm a long time ago to help quantify firmness of the greens. And we said, hey, here's an opportunity to get a new metric that superintendents don't have right now, plus package up a couple of measurements that they already are probably taking. And really what it comes down to is this. Look, as golfers, we know intuitively, we talk about it all the time. Superintendents know it. General managers know it. Green chairs know it. The putting surface is not the biggest part of the golf course, but it's the one that gets influences the experience of the golfers the most. And that's true whether it's, a pretty basic 9-hole facility, or it's, our US Open site. So whether it's, the weekend warrior recreational golfer or the world's best professional men and women, that is true, that the putting surface is super influential on how the kind of experience they have. And so, our tagline is to measure what matters. And we think that the playing surface certainly matters in the product that we're producing at our golf courses. And so the GS3 gives us a way to measure that, hopefully pretty quickly and easily and efficiently.
And let's be clear, Matt, the GS3 is the same size and weight.
It's the exact
as-
same. Yep, exact same size and weight as a golf ball. We were originally going to make it white, but the first prototypes we made clear so that we could see some, like some warning lights and things like that we had built in. And then when we showed that to superintendents, they thought, hey, why would you cover that up? It looks cool, especially at 5 o'clock in the morning when the sun's just starting to come up. It really looks neat as it rolls down the putting surface.
Mhm. So how does the so you have a grading system then, and I think we also need to mention how this data gets transferred via Bluetooth to your Deacon
Yeah.
program.
Yeah. So we packed a lot of electronics into 1.68 inch diameter golf ball. It's got 3 accelerometers, 3 gyroscopes. So just like in your cell phone has very similar sensors. So it can measure that vibration as it rolls down the putting surface, or the impact when it hits the green surface in our firmness device. And then it's got some gyroscopes which can measure how it's oriented, how fast it's rolling, which is helpful in the green speed measurement.
Mhm.
And then that all goes into a little microprocessor. So that's a tiny little computer on board the golf ball, and then gets sent Bluetooth to your phone, to our Deacon app, where you take the test, measure the results. As a superintendent, you don't have to be out there actually taking the measurements. You can hand this off to one of your crew. They can go out and get the measurements, and you can sit in front of your desk with your coffee or with your cell phone on your Gator, and see those results coming in real time. And then obviously it has to have a little battery, so it comes with a little charging cup and a little wireless charging coil. So all that's packaged into the golf ball, and a few indicator lights so that that it's connected to the Bluetooth, or that it's charging, or that it's starting to get low on juice. All those are in there, so you can get a visual indication of how things are going too.
Does it have enough juice then for a superintendent to take across all 18 greens?
Absolutely, and then some. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like for us, for our championships, for example, obviously our agronomists are out there working with our host site teams, and we're out there with the device morning and night, 7 days a week in the lead up and during the conduct of our championships.
So again, getting back to the rating system, do you have like a grading system, or is there a grade that would indicate, hey, this is the absolute optimal condition of the putting surface?
So that I love the question. So I'm going to answer it in a couple of different ways. So first of all, believe it or not every superintendent loves stimp meter. And they don't all, but everybody knows, every golfer thinks they know what's the ideal, stimp, 12, 11, 9, 7, whatever it is. So when it comes to the new metrics, firmness has been around for almost 20 years. And what we measure is literally how deep the impact of our hammer goes into the turf. So it might be, very firm turf might be 1/4 of an inch, and a modestly soft turf might be around 1/2 an inch. And then if you get into 6/10 or more, you're getting quite soft. When it comes to smoothness and trueness, we've got a scale. It's a little bit backwards. 0 would be an absolutely perfect glass, and 10 and 15 and 20 start to get into, post aeration, for example. If you were to roll right after you core aerated, you'd see numbers up there. But we're really, because we're just launching this tool, and we've taken thousands and thousands of measurements, and we've got courses out there using it now, taking thousands of measurements. We're just collecting a database now of what the ranges mean. And absolutely, I can tell you, it is not going to be the case where we'll say a smoothness of 4 is ideal, because what's ideal for your course is probably different than what's ideal for my course. And it's really about meeting golfer expectations. And I always like to say, no matter whether we're talking about a $30 around, modest budget course, or our US Open site, we want it to be good enough because once we get to where the golfers need it to be and want it to be and feel like they're getting good value from their round, hey, let's move on to something else on the golf course that's going to be more impactful. And so I never talk about optimum or ideal, smoothness or firmness or speed. I talk about what makes sense for you. What's good enough for you?
Years ago, when I was conducting surveys for Pellucid, we did well over 100 of these. Occasionally, we were asked by the client to ask a question about green speed.
Right.
And we would try to talk them out of it because we knew what the response would be. But they insisted, so we put it in. And it was always the three bears response. 1/3 of the respondents would say it was too slow. 1/3 said it was too fast. And 1/3 would say, hey, it's just right. So to your point, there probably isn't a means by which to determine an optimum green speed. And again, I know enough, having played enough golf, that really depends on the construction of the greens, the slopes and bumps and humps and so on. What works and what doesn't. What works at Augusta is not going to work at some other courses, but it's still a curious question to ask to see, if down the road somewhere, as you're collecting more and more data, if you can come out and say, hey, you know what, we think the optimum green speed overall on the average is whatever, 9.5, 10, 11.2, whatever that is, would be, I think, curious for a lot of golfers to see.
I think I have a fresh anecdote, and I'm not going to name names of the golf course, but it's one that most golfers in America would certainly know. And I can tell you, sometimes when you're introducing data into someone's job, there can be a sort of a, hey, do I really want to know all this information? And what happened at this great golf course is, the superintendent was maintaining the putting speeds at, call it 11. And because they believe that, and their management believed that that's what, the golfers really wanted. And then they became quite fastidious about measuring the green speed, but they're also measuring pace of play. This is a pretty good sophisticated operation. Mm-hmm. And they decided that they're going to try going from 11, say, to a 9. And they saw very significant positive impact on pace of play. Mm-hmm. And this is a golf course that most golfers in America would know, and they charge a heck of a lot for a round of golf. And so pace of play is real dollars. It's not just satisfaction of a private club membership. It's real dollars because I can pump more rounds through in any given day. And so I love that. And we at the USGA, we're trying to promote that more. And we think the GS3 is a great intuitive way to start that process, because that really empowers the superintendent now to say, hey, we as a business team here at the golf course can work together so that, I know that I'm setting up the golf course in a way that contributes positively to the business of the course, and not just, what do we think our golfers want, or what does our management team want? So I love it. And I think that the same, we're going to see this very similar things with smoothness and trueness and even firmness. So.
Well, that's interesting, because my next question was asking about courses that are already using the GS3, what kind of results they're getting besides this one. And what was this course? Is this course using the GS3?
They sure are, among a lot of other, measurement tools. And we think they're a, real poster child for beginning the process of collecting, not just, what am I doing to the golf course, but what's the outputs of the golf course? How is the golf course responding to these inputs? Because then I can really get into, the word optimization really means something. Then how can I do enough, but not more than I need to mm-hmm. achieve the performance that I'm looking for from, in this case, the putting surface, but it could also be, other parts of the golf course.
So besides changing the green speeds, did the GS3 give this particular course more information on other things they need to do with the green condition regarding smoothness and firmness and so on?
I'll give you another great example. It's different golf course, but this will apply everywhere. Again, this is a daily fee golf course, and many daily fee golf courses discount their rates when they're going through an aeration. And what we did is they used the GS3, measured before, saw an obvious big jump up in or big deterioration of the smoothness the day of aeration and after, and then they watch it recover back to their bench line. Now, you could still go out and look visually at the golf course, and you'll still see the rumors of the core aeration, but the smoothness was back to where it was. And so that gives them the ability to tell their golfers, hey, we're not discounting the rates anymore. And yeah, you'll see the aeration, but we've measured with the USGA's GS3, and we can tell you that we're as smooth now as we were before we aerated. And so again, that is really meaningful in the overall business of the golf course, especially if you're doing that maybe a couple times a year.
So did that take what's normally like a 2-week process down to just a few days?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Obviously it's going to depend on the turf species and where and when it would happen, how actively we're growing and recovering. I think in this particular case, it was probably 8 days before it got down to within 95% of where it was before the aeration, and we were able to turn around. They were able to turn around and remove the discounting, which meant dollars in their pocket.
Is part of the use of GS3 and the USGA's research, your research, will it be discovering what are the better putting green turf types?
I would hope that the turf variety and species that a golf course is selecting is being selected for agronomic and sustainability reasons. We love when we see an ultra dwarf Bermuda grass in a place where maybe they're deciding between that and bent, and so what we think with GS3 is we're going to be able to very likely dispel myths between which turf surface is offering a higher performance, but more importantly, we'll be able to use the GS3 to provide data. The superintendents will be able to use the GS3 to provide the data so that whatever turf they have and have selected for the agronomic reasons, they can provide the putting quality that their golfers expect with that appropriately selected variety or species in their area.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, there's a lot to consider when courses are changing or upgrading their greens to a different turf type.
Yeah.
So this would just become another one of the data points for them to look at when making that consideration.
Yeah, exactly. We would never advocate that you would, choose a suboptimal species or variety, agronomicly to strive for a certain green speed, for example. That just doesn't make sense. There's so many ways. There's so many levers that we can pull, and the USGA can help pull with the maintenance practices to get the putting performance that they want with the grasses that make sense in their area.
So out here where I live, we're predominantly POA. That's just the way it is. There are some courses that have been successful with bent grass and keeping it bent. I know one not far from me that 27-hole facility has 2 guys that go out every day, and if they find any POA at all in the course, because the POA is transferred on our shoes, they dig it up and burn it. It's gone. And they've been very successful doing that. But that's an unusual situation. This is a very high-end daily fee, and they can afford to do that. Most courses, especially municipal courses, can't do that. So will the GS3 and in particular courses that have POA on the greens, how will the GS3 affect the superintendent's means by which to control that and make it a better playable surface than it often is? It's usually bumpy.
Sure. So keep in mind you're talking to a mechanical engineer here. So I'm not gonna wade into waters that I'm not grounded in. But that's why we have over 15 agronomists on our team to help with this. Obviously one of the USGA most storied venues in Western Pennsylvania has, famously has POA putting surfaces, and they're able to deliver a phenomenally good putting surface. I think that one of the nice things about a tool like this coming from the USGA is, look, most superintendents are going to be very well versed in how do I deliver the best putting surface I can in your question with POA greens. But the nice thing about this coming from the USGA is we've got, research, educational content, and our agronomists, our field agronomists, standing behind the product that can say, hey, okay, I understand I'm getting these readings. I know what they mean. USGA, can you help us figure out how we can improve on them? And the answer is going to be that absolutely, whether that's zoysia grass, bent grass, POA, Bermuda grass, seashore paspalum. So we'll be able to help. So,
okay. Are you getting cooperation with GCSAA as well in getting your GS3 out into the field?
Yeah, I've worked for the USGA for 23 years, and I've been to many, what we used to call the golf industry show, now the GCSA show and conference. I've been to PGA merchandise shows. I can tell you, in partnership with the GCSA this year, USGA Green Section was a presenting partner at that show, and we had more traffic at our booth than I've ever seen at a USGA booth ever. And so, this is such an intuitive tool. People intuitively know that the quality of the putting surface is, instrumental in the golfer experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty simple to understand. You roll the ball on the green and it tells you how bumpy it is. There's a lot of interest in it. And right now we're kind of slowly bringing it out to some of our course consulting and Deacon customers, because we want to make sure that everybody has a great experience with it. And as we every time we introduce it to a new customer, we learn something new about it. They ask us, can we do this? Can we add that? So we're slowly ramping that up so that we can get this out to hundreds and then thousands of golf courses, because we think that no matter where you are, we think that this is something that this is a measurement that's meaningful to you as a business, offering a quality experience.
Absolutely. I assume that the GS3 is a bit more costly than the one I'm holding, right?
It is. Yep. It's $2,750 to get you started with all the equipment and access to the app. And then we offer a subscription after that to the Deacon app, so that you can keep taking the measurements in and visualizing them and sharing them with your board or your golfers or your general manager. So we think it's a good package. All that money, the Green Section brings in a little bit of money and spends a lot more on the sustainability of the game. So all that money that comes in, for the GS3 is being turned right back around to support the sustainability of golf.
So $2,750 isn't that much more than what I spend annually on golf balls, which kind of gives you an idea.
You can't hit it with a driver. I will tell you that. We'd ask you not to putt it. I'm sure some people have, but you definitely can't hit it with a driver.
Absolutely. Do you see the future development of GS3 being something that will get into the hands of golfers, particularly professional golfers? I mean, I can see.
No.
Okay.
The answer is no. We are only looking to provide this to golf courses and specifically turf managers at golf courses, and what we want is to provide courses with a tool that helps them deliver the experience that their golfers want, not to put this in the hands of professional or even recreational golfers at all.
Okay. All right. But you got to know sooner or later, one of these pros is going to make enough friends with superintendents to say, "Hey, can I borrow that for the next tournament or something?" But
we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For us, like if you take our championships, for example, we're pretty transparent about the setup of the golf course, and we try to share as much of the metrics as we possibly can. So it wouldn't shock me at all if we, once we get comfortable with the measurements and where we want to be, sharing that kind of information out with golfers so that they don't have to go out and try to get something on the gray market.
Sure. What can people expect in a few weeks at the Open at LA Country Club as far as the greens?
Well, you can expect that that those are very challenging greens. There's a lot of topography to them, but you can expect that we're going to provide a smooth and appropriately fast putting surface to challenge the golfers, but without jeopardizing the showcasing of their high quality, high level playing performance. It's a big golf course. As you know, California and Los Angeles got a lot of rain, so I would expect a lot of green grass, which will be great.
Yeah. Everything's very green, and if they have the right drone shots up in the hills, they'll see the massive blooms that are going on.
Yeah, it's Bermuda. It's Bermuda grass rough, which is a little bit unusual for a U.S. Open. So not unprecedented, of course. We played in lots of warm season courses, but it's a little bit. It'll be look and play a little bit different than a Winged Foot might, or even last year at Brookline.
What are the greens? Are the greens bent?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Matt, this is great. This is an amazing technology to encompass into something that's no bigger than this.
Yep.
But again, with chip technology and everything else that's being developed, you mentioned three. You mentioned the various
three
devices.
accelerometers and 3 gyroscopes. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
I know the phones have them, but the phones are much bigger. So that's an impressive design.
Yeah.
You have it. Is it being produced domestically?
It's being, you have to be careful. Obviously, it's a global supply chain, and all the issues that you've heard about, and I'm sure reported on Golf Business Live about, have hit us too. So it's taken us a little longer to get this thing up and running than we had hoped, but we do assemble it here in the U.S. And but with globally sourced parts, obviously, obviously chips and microprocessors and sensors and things like that are made all over the world. So, it is assembled here in the USA.
Okay, very good. Matt, do you have anything else to add?
I don't. I mean, look, I always appreciate the time to get in front of NGCOA members. It's such a great group of owners. It's really, when we think about this long term, as our CEO has sort of famously said, our goal at the USGA and that trickles right directly down to the green section, is to help golf courses, be better now, be better and sustainable and around for our kids and our kids' kids. And we really think, not that GS3 is the linchpin of all of that, but we really think that data and management informed by data is the future to optimizing how we operate golf courses. And that's not an easy thing to get started. A lot of people don't know where to start, and we really think the GS3 is a good and intuitive and direct measure that people can get, and it's easy to use and start them down that process. And that it has a USGA logo on it, and hopefully they use it every day is our way of trying to make sure that we're relevant and helpful and contributing to that sustainability and the economic success of golf businesses.
Well, maybe offline you can let me know if there's any place near me that has one in operation. I'd love to go out and see it. And
sure, yeah, we definitely could do that.
But in the meantime, thank you very much for this. I think it's extremely informative. Our members and their superintendents should be well aware of what's available in technology, especially as it affects their operations and their green conditions and playability. And here's a tool that to me, is a no-brainer in the investment to get out in the hands of every golf course. So we appreciate this. Good luck at the U.S. Open at LA Country Club, and we hope to talk to you again.
Thanks, Harvey. It was great to meet you.
Thanks, Matt. That's it, everybody. That's it for May. We're well into the season now, and if you are having some issues with your greens, and a lot of courses are, we think this is a great tool for you to take a look at. Contact the USGA or your local association, or maybe your superintendent already knows about it. But hey, for $27.50, you've got to put a tool in the hands of people who can use it best, and chances are your players and members will take notice as the improvements occur using this remarkable piece of equipment that's no bigger than that. How cool is that? Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.